Hello, I'm going to show you a few ways in which you can improve the lighting for your LowRider 3 if you are also using Kobalt's new trim router. It's currently on sale. It's a pretty good deal, I mean, with the lights and everything else that's going on. Anyway, I'm currently in the process of upgrading my LowRider 3 to have an additional core as part of my 2-router CNC that I'm building. It's a pretty fun project. As I was building this, I noticed that the lighting wasn't ideal, right? There wasn't enough light to fully understand what was going on, so horrible things could be happening in the darkness and I would never know. So since the router's got 2 different point lights, I decided I'd try, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, try printing parts with multiple materials. In this case, I've got transparent and solid colored PLA, and I figured out a few ways to print up such a part, and it's turned out pretty nice. There's a bunch of little lenses that you end up effectively having in the transparent part, which helps to diffuse the point source lights, and you end up with a better overall holistic understanding of what's going on. And with that area being very well lit up, you can quickly jump in and intervene if something horrible is going on that needs to be sorted out. So that's pretty cool. So all of the files for this are available. The original part actually was based off of Ryan from V1 Engineering's Kobalt router mount that he kindly graciously shared with the community. I did very few changes basically to his part. I've shared that up on Printables and also on my GitHub as well. All of the files, the latest versions of the files will probably be on Git. I'm not as good about updating Printables. Hopefully, one of the ways you'll be able to do this is maybe just go to the V1E shop. Maybe if enough people ask around, he'll sell like a Kobalt router kit or something of printed parts for people that don't have access to a printer or are not comfortable with printing parts with multiple colors. One of the easiest things you could do is just print everything transparent. Don't worry about trying to split the colors. But I mean, to me at least, it looks pretty cool, and it's been an interesting experience just learning how to actually print multiple materials. I don't have a fancy, multi-material printer like Bamboo or Prusa, but I'd happily accept such a thing if someone wants me to review one. Just send it my way. I'm using, in this case situation, the SliceWorks Royal Blue seems to be a good color match for Kobalt, so that's the filament that I'm using there for the solid areas. When I was initially doing a search to try and understand how to print multiple materials, tons of videos out on YouTube, and Chep's a guy that I often go to, and he has a video on using this thing called Z Offset plugin for Cura. I've used Prusa Slicer, but I don't know why. I just mostly fall back to using Cura. It does the job. I understand it. It seems to work for me. One of the things you can do in the marketplace is download this Z Offset setting. I tried that out. Chep goes into this in like a lot of details. See the description for a link to his video. I'm not going to cover and duplicate all his effort here. This is a great way to go if you have very different models that you want to print at different heights. And that's not exactly what I've got here. I ended up with my first attempt at this actually doing a bunch of work to take a model, split it into a bunch of parts, save those separately, and then stitch them back together in the slicer using this plugin. It was just a lot of work. I didn't realize there was a much simpler way, and that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. The simpler way that I stumbled onto after printing a part was to use the technique that's in this video. Again, link in the description. This is great. So if you have a single model, STL model, that you want to have different colors printed at different layers, then you can use a Cura change filament script, and you can, there's an M600 command that the script will write out. Now Marlin-based printers will understand M600. My printer's got Clipper, which doesn't, for whatever reason, understand M600 command. So you do need to modify your Clipper config. For anyone that doesn't know about Clipper, this will not make any sense, but for you Clipper people, you're going to need to update your configuration file to have a macro. Check out this video here by this person. Check that out, and there's these details there. Or again, you can go to my GitHub repo, and there's a snapshot of my Clipper config file there, which might be useful for this and also other things that you might be getting up to, especially if you also, like me, have the V1 engineering repeat printer, if you've built one of those. All right, so that's the configuration file, and this is actually the second version of the part that I made using that technique of taking a single model file and then adding the filament change script, which let's do now in Cura, for just to help anyone out that might not be familiar with this. So I've already updated my printer profile with the M600 macro, right? So the printer understands that now, Clipper does. And inside Cura, I've just opened the model file, and it has like an angle on it, so it's not going to be naturally on the bed. Possibly, I'll save a FreeMF file of what I've prepared here into my GitHub repo in case that helps people. But here's the steps that you can go through to basically achieve the same thing. So in here now, there's an well, before we go and add a filament change script, actually let's just do it. So when you add this filament change script, what this will do is spit out an M600 command, which will tell the printer to pause, wait for you to change the filament from transparent to solid, and you'll want to hit resume after you've gone through that process. But you need to specify a layer here at which point to do that pause. And so the way in which you'll do that is you have to figure out for your settings, after you've sliced the file, just as you would do normally, you'll look at the preview and figure out, I want to zoom in, and figure out at what layer you want that filament change to happen. So for my settings here, what I'm trying to do is figure out where the top of the rib is around the thin layers that I want most of the light to shine through, and that seems to be around, well, the 10 is the last layer, and I think you want to just add one to that, so 11 say. So what we'll do is we'll just make sure that we put 11 in there, and then that's set. So I would slice this, save it, Gcode, upload to printer, print in Clipper, and when I do the print, now when the printer gets to that, just before that 11th layer, printer will pause, the head will go off to the corner based on the settings that were configured in the script. This is where it's saying to go to. I change my filament, reload, squeeze out, a few centimeters worth to help with that purging the old filament. It doesn't matter too much if you don't do too much of a purge. People probably you won't notice the difference, but just make sure your nozzle's all primed, ready to go. Press resume in the Clipper interface, and you will get a nice part. So that's several different ways in which you can achieve this result. Hope that helps.